and welcome back to the only podcast that has mini podcasts within the podcast. I'm Travis, here with Jen.
Here we are. The Candy Podcast is back.
That's right. We talk about candy. We talk about, we talk mostly about candy. We talk about video games and how Gentendo is a thing. And
I want to bring up what we were talking about before this, and that is the fact that Travis openly admitted broccoli is delicious.
Well, look, I don't want that out in the public because I like to maintain that broccoli is gross. But if you put enough cheese on it, it's pretty delicious. No, even without cheese. If done correctly, this is true. I found this out recently. It's actually not bad. It's not bad. I can't deny it's not bad. And I for one went many a year thinking, are you kidding me? Who would eat this? And it's actually not bad. We're gonna get a whole bunch of recipes for broccoli in the comment section.
Broccoli lovers unite in the yeah, right. It's gonna be full of broccoli recipes. Everyone submit your favorite broccoli recipe.
Oh my God. If you listen to the last episode with me and Rob, I talked about how we're going to do a little announcement in this episode, which later on we will do, a little exciting announcement for the community here at the Boost and Tube Talk. And I'm excited about that, but we also have questions. We're going to get through those and just have a good old time as we always do. All right, let's get to the first one. Oh, see, here's the thing. They didn't put in the comments for Jen Reed, so I read into it a little bit. But let's see. This guy's name is... I don't know how to pronounce this. VJEKO. Hi there, Travis and Jen. Jen, spelled a couple different ways. I don't know how to spell your name. And anyone on the podcast. I'm here from Croatia. And my name is pronounced differently, so you can call me Sabri. Okay. I found this podcast over on the main channel. Love all the recordings and support. I'm not sure if you've read this podcast because I sent the wrong email, but I want to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, can Jen read this? Okay. So Jen should read the rest of this. I think that's only fair. I don't know if you have access. I can forward this to you, but it's called the subject matter was me again, maybe. I don't know if you saw that. If not, I'll just send it over to you real quick.
I would send it over.
Sending it over. This is, of course, the podcast. Process. This is the podcast here. So some technical difficulties in the last podcast with Rob, and I told him as he was trying to figure it out, I go, this is what this podcast is all about. Sometimes we do things on the fly. It doesn't always work out correctly, but everyone loves it, so it's fine. All right.
I like that I'm being requested to read this.
People are requesting you left, right, and center.
Because I know how to read.
Oh my God. What are you saying? You're right. I actually cannot read. It's my shame.
It's just a skill. I can read. I'm really good at reading like kids' books.
Really? That could be a secondary hustle for you.
Yeah. Like I don't know why. Like I can just read it like the first time in like different voices and just get like the cadence down.
Is this a new channel that we're going to bring to bear? I don't know. Is this a thing?
I don't have a punny name for it yet.
Then we have to come up with, all right, send us punny names.
Oh, a kids channel. Oh my God. All right.
I
will say we will not be starting a kids channel.
Yeah, let's just be clear.
Let's be very, very clear.
We don't want that
I am
smoke.
not up for that challenge.
Okay.
All right. I don't have a channel yet. Dun, dun, dun. I just feel like that's so much foreshadowing. I don't know on what game to base my channel on. I really like Rocket League. However, I don't want to get bored of it by constantly making videos on it. I also sometimes play Minecraft, which I also like, but not as much as Rocket League. Is there maybe a way of combining these 2 games into one channel? I wanted to post 1 video a month or 2. I can't do more because I'm still in high school with limited time of spending in front of a screen about 6 hours a week. In these 6 hours, I can play and edit. In mine, sometimes I just want to have fun. P.S. I wrote this on a phone. Boomer Travis. He wrote it on a phone. And then thanks so much for being here. You're actually one of the reasons why I decided to do YouTube. Can't wait to hear from you in the next podcast.
So sweet.
Firing channels left and right. That's amazing.
Love it. Actually, in the last podcast, same thing. We added someone who hasn't quite uploaded yet, but have been listening to us for a while.
I love that.
It's so cool to have people like preparing. Like they want to be real prepared. This is an interesting question. I think part of it has to do with any creator, and Jen, I know you've come across a lot of creators who are just starting out and they do something because it works, not necessarily because they love it. And in this email, we hear that same thing. Like, I want to do this, but I actually like this other thing more. What is your general advice for someone like that?
I would do the one that you love and then figure out what the next pivot is. Right now, they're dealing with a limited amount of time, just screen time in general. And a portion of that has to be fun. We want to keep in mind, like, we don't want to use all this time up for something that is not even going to be as fun. So with a new channel, I would push what you love. When you see some traction, you see some momentum, and you have an opportunity to start to do different things, or maybe it gets to the point where you feel a little bit bored of making content on the same game, then you want to try something new. But I wouldn't just go into it with the mindset of you have to do X, Y, and Z from the beginning. I would just start doing something you love.
I love that advice because ultimately you're the one that's going to have to be constantly creating the content. And if you're not in love with it, and I talk about this all the time, then you're going to burn out and it becomes a low paying, not great fun job, right? There's a job you're maybe not getting paid as much for. I mean, if you want to do a job you don't like, you can find a fast food job anywhere and get paid very little to do things you probably don't like. Don't do it on YouTube. Do something that you love. So definitely, it sounds like you kind of like both things, but again, you're more passionate about one. I would start with the thing you're most passionate about. I think the better content's going to come out. Plus, your audience can tell if you're real about things. Jen and I get a lot of comments in the comment section and emails and stuff about like how genuine we sound and how much fun it sounds like. We are literally having fun. It's not something we have to put on. It just is a thing. So I think people can tell that when they watch your content, and you definitely want people to feel like, you know, that's what is going on. You're not just doing something because you have to. Because they can see that too.
Yeah, and then if they spent this limited, they have this 6 hours that they have to play and edit within, and then they get this one video out a month. Imagine you spent all of this time to put out that one video that wasn't even the game you wanted to play with to begin with. Yeah. That's like a lose-lose right there. If you had infinite amount of time and you were talking about mixing it up, then like maybe there's more opportunity there from the beginning, but like, no, you gotta have fun with it.
Yeah. I totally agree. All right, next one. Does upload time matter? Hi, Travis, Jen, and the vidIQ crew. I've recently been uploading videos whenever I finish making them. However, these videos seem to be getting fewer views. I don't have enough videos to really make any judgments. From y'all's experience, is there any effect on view count by time of upload? Interestingly, we talked about this in the last episode, but we'll get to that. Before we answer that question, there is a picture in this email. It says, P.S. Candy corn is the best candy. Fact, not opinion. And below that, first of all, no. But below that, he has a scanned image of what looks like either a newspaper clipping or something out of a magazine. And it says National Candy Corn Day, October 30th. And then underneath it has facts about candy corn.
That is the most delicious candy on earth.
I will read these. Candy corn is fat-free. By the way, did you know they're called kernels individually? Did you know that?
No, I would just call them candy corns.
Well, because the second fact says each kernel of candy corn has its own unique shape, much like a snowflake. According to the National Confection, I guess I don't know this because I'm not even
possible.
It's ridiculous because it's trash. According to the National Confectioners Association, more than 35 million pounds, or roughly 9 billion kernels of candy corn, are sold each year.
Wow.
That's insane.
In the U.S. only, obviously.
Probably. You know what's funny about this? Someone in the comment section said something that I absolutely agree with, which is something like, candy corn is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as Peeps. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you got me on that one. Like,
I will say Peeps are worse.
Okay, there you go. When the Gottlieb's Confectionery Company first produced candy corn, it was called Chicken Feed.
Do you know why?
Why? Tell me.
No, I can't. I don't want to get that gross.
Okay, all right. Unopened packaged candy corn has a shelf life of about how long? How long do you think the unopened?
8 to 10 years. Taking it with me through the apocalypse.
Okay, fair. It's 9 months, which is still long, but yeah, 10 years sounds about right.
I mean, 9 months only, so you have to buy new ones next year.
Oh my God, this is terrible. We've become a candy corn podcast. And the last two are candy corn is technically neither candy nor corn. I agree with that. And one kernel of candy corn is about 7 calories.
Amazing.
Okay. Back to the question. From y'all's experience, is there any effect on view count by time of upload? It depends on the content. So let's talk a little bit about that, Jen. There's an answer for evergreen content, and then there's an answer for newsworthy / live stream content. So for newsworthy / live stream content, yes, time does matter. Because if it's newsworthy, it's only newsworthy for a certain amount of time. If it's a live stream, people are online at certain times a day, relevant, right? For evergreen, what would you say?
Nope. I feel like this is the hardest thing for creators to swallow, is that it really doesn't matter when you upload your video. Doesn't matter if it's Sunday, doesn't matter if it's Monday, doesn't matter if it's noon, doesn't matter if it's 6. It's not going to affect how the video does in the long run. It's going to affect how many people watch it immediately, but that also doesn't affect how the video performs in the long run, because I can say I have seen worse community videos typically turn into evergreen content. It doesn't hit your normal audience, and then it far surpasses that audience. So those 7, 8 of 10s that the community is like, meh, those are the ones that I always see blow up. I feel like I've actually very rarely seen a 1 of 10 just like take off like that.
Yeah, from the get-go?
Yeah.
It's pretty rare. I mean, it depends. Weirdly, a couple months ago, because we schedule these podcasts to go live. People didn't know. Most people know that like on Monday when they wake up, or sometime during the morning, the podcast is both on audio and on YouTube. I'll let you know that at 6 a.m. Pacific, for those who haven't figured it out, audio and video go live 6 a.m. Pacific. But there was one time a couple months ago, I don't know what happened. One of them got released at like midnight or something, or 1 a.m. or something. I don't know how that happened.
3 a.m. Travis.
Was it 3 a.m.?
It was 3 a.m.
I don't know what happened. I woke up the next morning and I look at the analytics on YouTube. The video is like a 1 of 10, but it had been live for like 4 hours. I'm like, wait a minute. How is that possible? And one of the comments was like, did something go wrong? Because I got an alert in the middle of the night that you were posting. I'm like, oh no. But the point is, the video performed, even though we never released at 2, 3 a.m., whatever the heck it was. It worked out fine. Everything was good.
It's so funny. I have no upload schedule.
Just whenever is whenever.
Whenever the video is done, whatever day of the week, whatever time of the day.
You're like, just live.
And I just go, ding, publish.
Do you ever think about like, are you even thinking like, okay, I uploaded, it's like 4:30, should I wait till 5? Or do you just go at 4:41, like the oddest time possible?
Sometimes I just yell across the house and it's like 8 or 9 p.m. I go, honey, do you think it's too late to publish my video? And he's like, nah, send it.
Full send. Full send. Send that thing. Oh my gosh.
No schedule.
All right. I love the subject on this one. It's called My Retention is Garbage and I Don't Know How to Improve It. What a lot of people don't know is actually, I love doing retention graph research and helping people with retention. It's one of the things I actually really enjoy. So let's see what's said here. Hi, Jen and Travis. I've emailed y'all before. I'm Sniper and I run a small mobile gaming channel. Thanks for the advice from weeks ago. My latest video was getting promoted heavily by YouTube, even though the click-through rate was below 6% for most of the time, which I thought was strange. Once the video hit about 2.3 thousand views, everything completely flatlined and the video is essentially dead now. The biggest issue with the with the video is retention, with about 29% of the people watching the halfway point and only 10% before the outro. I'm certain editing wasn't the issue. I'm confident in my editing skills and I get an occasional compliment about my editing. The only thing I believe is the cause of the low retention was the video script. Maybe YouTube couldn't find the right audience. Who knows really? The video is a bunch of tips on how to easily find good mobile games. Some tips were longer, some were shorter, some were obvious, some were less obvious. When I started the video with a longer tip and ended it probably had the most unknown but most useful one. What I'm thinking is maybe I could have teased the best tip at the start to get people to watch till the end, restructure the video in some way in a faster pace. Any script writing tips and improve retention are appreciated. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give a couple of thoughts right off the bat from some of the things that were said here. Number one, click-through rate was low because you were getting more impressions. That's always going to be the case. Your click-through rate will go down as impressions go up because YouTube's testing it against a newer audience. And likely, based on what you're saying, that this was a kind of sounds like a good performing video, because you said it was promoted heavily by YouTube, which means a lot of people who've never seen your content before saw that for the first time, which means those people are more likely to end watching sooner than people that have seen your content multiple times. So your retention will also go down as it gets expanded out to a new audience. So for example, this podcast, within the first day, we average around a 20-minute average retention or so on YouTube for the first day. And then it goes down from there, within the days after. But that's because new people are coming and they're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this, but I don't really know these guys yet. Oh, I talked about candy corn too much. I'm out. Right. So in the case of you, where you're talking about maybe you could have done the first tip at the beginning. Yeah, I agree. You can always do stuff like that. Tease it at the beginning. But retention will go up and down depending on how many impressions you have, and so will CTR. So this is not surprising. And even though you say it's essentially dead now, that does not mean that over time it will not continue to get views, as Jen alluded to earlier. Jen, what are your thoughts on something like this?
It's hard. This is so hard without seeing the retention graph. That's like all my brain keeps coming back to. It's just like, you have the answers in your retention graph. And you may not think it's your editing, but it very well could be. We can't look at the retention graph. This is a tough one, but you see when people drop off. Go look at that. Go hover and scroll through where they dropped off, because a lot of people dropped off based off the retention that you're saying. So the numbers of the people that left seem pretty insignificant compared to why the majority clicked off. And that's what I would really focus on. I wouldn't make assumptions that it's the scripting. I would solely focus on why the majority of people left.
I'd also like to point out, we don't know how long the video is. He's never said. One of the things he mentioned was like, at the end, 10% of the people were watching. Well, if your video was like 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, that's actually really good. If it's a 5-minute video, okay, fine. Then yeah, we're back. Or even 10-minute video, we're back to talking about what we're saying. But we also don't know that. So
Fair.
We're assuming some things.
Fair.
But assuming that it is 10 minutes, 50 minutes or less, then everything Jen just said, 100% agree with. All right. Next one, I actually forwarded to you, Jen, because it says Jen must read this. And this is by Neil, which I'll talk about Neil here in a second.
I must read this. I'm sorry. It seems the email has been blocked.
I know what's in it. You better read it. Go ahead and read it, because I already know what it says.
Cadbury cream eggs are bloody, disgusting in every single way.
No, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. That's not what it says. Read it right.
That's what it says, Travis.
No, it does not. Read it. I saw it before I sent it.
That's literally what it says. I don't know what you think you forwarded me.
No.
But
you are doing him
a
disservice.
Completely agree.
Ladies and gentlemen.
As do I think the rest of the boosted watchers. Agree with me.
A travesty is being happened, and I'm not. It's not a pun. I'm going to read it then. Cadbury eggs are bloody, delightfully delicious in every single way. That's what Neil actually said before
that's
it was
weird, because
tainted.
that's not the email that I have.
Interesting.
So I don't know what to tell you there, Travis.
Now you're starting a controversy. People in the comments are going to be like, "What did Neil really say?
What did Neil say?"
Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe that I've been bamboozled. Okay, real quick, let's talk about Neil. Neil also sent us some keychains, which I have here. If you're looking at the YouTube channel, you can see that he sent us some very cool keychains, handmade keychains. Sent us a nice little letter as well. And this is awesome. I talked a little bit about last week when we got the email from the person who designed the shirts and merch and stuff for us. And I was like, this is really cool. I don't want to make people think that we want you to send us things and that it's going to be some type of bribe. I don't want that. However, I also acknowledge that sometimes, and people show their appreciations in different ways, feel like, hey, if I do this thing, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. And what I said last video is the same thing I'm going to say right now, which is the one thing that I appreciate more than anything, beyond money and stuff, is someone's time, because it's a commodity that they don't have an unlimited source of, right? So the time it took to make these, the time it took to make for that person to make the logo for the shirts means more to me than like a $10 super chat, because it means you spent time doing something. And I can't appreciate this enough. I thank you so much, Neil. We're definitely going to get, I'll get Jen's, or get one of these to Jen. And I'm flattered, overwhelmed. And the fact that you guys and gals are just kind of going out of your way to make things so cool. I saw in the comments section, Jen, you probably don't know this, a couple of commenters going back and forth talking about family and stuff, which I thought was the sweetest thing. Now, that brings me to the announcement, because as we've talked about this community for a while, I think it's important to understand that we value our listenership very, very much, very highly. The one thing that's been kind of missing at the time is there's not like a great place for all to congregate, because we have people who send in text messages, we have people who send in emails, and then we have people in the comments section, right? So we have all these different people. And I think some of them became really cool friends. Now, a couple of years ago, I started a group coaching program here at vidIQ called Max. And as part of the offering, we had a Discord. And I've talked about this before. And Discord, for those who don't know, is a software, it's free software that you can go in and chat with other people. It's almost like a chat thing, but it's not really. It's almost like a forum, but not really. It's this thing. And it still exists today. And people who have Boost or above are able to get into it. And what's cool about it is it's a bunch of other really great creators that are there to help each other. They'll do like audits on channels. They'll help each other with thumbnails. And sometimes they just have a good time. Well, I was talking to, I had handed that off to a person at our, here at vidIQ called Sarah. And I was talking to her the other day and I said, what if we had our own little section of the Discord just for the listeners? And she was super excited about it. So we've set it up. And all of y'all are invited. I will be popping through there during the course of the week, in and out. You'll have access to not only other listeners, but in that Discord, you also have access to a bunch of other creators that are doing things just like you and have a lot of advice, a lot of very smart people there. I have a group of people that I've been working with there for a couple of years that are so smart, and can answer just about any question you would ever have. I'm super excited for that. And what you'll be able to do is, if you don't have Discord, just go to Google Discord, how I sign up for Discord, sign up for an account, it's free. Then you'll have to link your Discord account with your vidIQ account. I will leave a link for that in the show notes and in the link in the comment section for this video. Once you do that, it'll ask you some questions, it'll bring you in, and then you'll have your own, there'll be like a room that's called, let me see what it's called. Because, Jen, we have this problem of having this podcast having two names. We should just call it the podcast with two names, is what we should call this thing. It's called Boost X Tube Talk. So like Boost times Tube Talk, and it's called Creator Talk. I love that. And there's a little section there called Creator Talk. The only people in there will be listeners from the show. The rest of the podcast, the rest of the Discord you can brag about like your successes. You can ask for thumbnail advice. There's off topic. It's just a really fun place. So that's where we're going to congregate. I want all y'all to be there and to have fun. And Jen will drop by every so often, but I'm going to be the main person kind of keeping an eye in there. And just have fun. It's not a place for like asking a bunch of Q&A to me and Jen. It's more about having a community, because some of you have told us that, matter of fact, you missed the email last week or last episode, Jen, where this person said that we are their friend. Like we are hand-holding them.
We are.
Yes.
We are friends.
So because of that, we want you all to join and gather in one place. So again, link will be in the show notes. You have to have the Boost or higher. I think it's like $20 a month. You can sign up at vidIQ.com. You get access to a bunch of software tools.
Do some like fun contests for the holiday and stuff. Like
we are
best
going
Christmas photos.
We are going
best Christmas jammies.
Yes, we are going to do shenanigans. Let me tell you. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see y'all.
This is supposed to be about YouTube.
It is. We'll do YouTube shenanigans. Make sure you put it on the YouTube channel. All right. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. Anyway, here's the next email. To have two channels or to not to have two channels? That is the question.
Can you please read that in a Shakespearean voice?
Okay. Let me see if I can figure out how that would sound. To have two channels or to not have two channels? That is the question.
That question.
That is the question. All right, here we go. Okay, dear Travis and Jen, spelled your name correctly. I'm pretty sure Shakespeare didn't propose this actual question, but if he were alive, perhaps he would.
It wasn't Shakespeare, it was Travis.
It was Travis Spear is what it was. I wonder if he would have had a YouTube channel. Et tu, Brute? I think he probably would have. I think Shakespeare would have had a YouTube channel. I sent this cue via text, so disregard if you've already seen it. I think, wait, did we? Some income. Yes, we actually did this one last week. So anyway, this is the one from last week about the photography and the train channel, but it's funny. And but the question here that they did not ask last time is, would a vidIQ coach help me decide which direction to go? Jen happens to be a vidIQ coach. When someone comes to you with two different types of niches and they're kind of passionate about both, how do you help them decide what they should do?
Well, I don't think we necessarily help them decide what to do, but I think when you have a coach, we just help you decide which one you want to focus on with the coach. And then everything else you can apply to that second channel super easily, but the one you're either more passionate about or the one that you need more help with. Both are great answers. But since you can only do one account per membership with your coach, at that point you'd really just be kind of discussing which one makes the most sense to dive in the deepest together. Typically, I think it's the one you're most passionate about.
So a couple of weeks ago, one of your what do they call them? Students, clients, I guess creators, really.
Creators. Yeah.
One of your creators emailed in and said that they had a second channel they never told you about. What happened in the discussion? If you can tell, like, what happened in the discussion?
I kept my mouth shut. It took me I talked to this creator every day too, and it took everything in me to not say anything until they heard the episode, and then I was just like waiting for their video response to come in.
What did they say?
They were cracking up, and they were so pumped on it, and they're going to continue to work on that channel on the side and keep doing what works. But at the end of the day, they're still super passionate about the channel that we're working on and continuing to move forward with that channel and us together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's so cool. This actually reminds me, in that letter that Neil sent, he actually did give a suggestion for the show. And I mean, we're going to continue to do more and more things in the show as time permits, but he had a pretty interesting idea. His idea was to find a creator that's under 100 subscribers and kind of have them on every so often just to go along with their journey and just kind of like, oh, we interview you now, this is what you think. And then like 2 months from now, like, what have you learned since then? I think that might be fun. Have a little segment for that. We'll have to figure out how to do that. Now, we've had 2 people email in the last 2 episodes that haven't started their channel yet. So that would actually be an interesting idea for those channels as they're really starting at zero. We could kind of talk to them a little bit, as they post their first video, then maybe like 2 months down the road. That might be interesting. What do you think?
I think it would be fun. I think it would be really interesting to
just
see how segment. That goes.
Like we'd have like a little 10-minute segment where we just talk to them. Yeah.
Little check-ins.
Well, we'll think about that. That was a really good suggestion. Okay. Next one. Hi, huggable Travis and adorable Jen.
Huggable Travis. Travis is huggable.
Am I? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? YouTube themselves are telling me to do shorts to get subscribers. I thought that was interesting. I tried going live on a verified channel I have with 168 subscribers, and it's telling me I need 50 more subs. I have 50 anyway, so I thought it was interesting that it specifically said shorts rather than make compelling videos to reach a target audience or something similar. I wonder if it hadn't allowed live since I don't physically watch YouTube videos on this channel, but because I use my first channel as a standard. Okay, so a couple things. The not allowing you to go live before 50 subscribers thing came because of an incident that happened a couple of years ago. I don't want to go too in depth in it, but it was tragic, where someone streamed something on YouTube, tragic. And so one of the safeguards they have in place for that is that, they want you to have a certain amount of subscribers, so you can't just randomly sign up for an account and then live stream something crazy, right? So that's the reason behind that. It is interesting though that they're telling you, and I see he sent a screenshot of this that says try creating shorts to reach 50 subscribers and unlock live streaming, because even YouTube knows that getting subscribers on shorts is easier than long form content. So that's very interesting that they are literally admitting it without
Mhm.
admitting it, Jen. That's interesting.
Well, I also feel like, I mean, it's not a secret. If you want your metrics to just grow,
Yeah.
shorts.
But this comes back to the thing we talk about a lot. And, you know, I don't want to discourage any shorts creators. If you're a shorts creator, listen, more power to you. We're here to support you, whatever. But it is interesting that, you know, YouTube will try to, you know, on the surface say, you know, create whatever you want and we have a great platform for you and you can grow and whatever. But in an email to a content creator who wants to live stream, they say, use shorts. Almost like, bro, we know it's overpowered. We know. We know.
Well, it's not like anything against shorts creators. It's just
Right.
shorts and longs creators have very different goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this goal was to get subscribers.
Yeah.
If anyone said, how do I get subscribers? Make shorts.
That's the answer. You're not wrong.
Make shorts.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Someone's
You're
like, how do I
wrong.
grow my business and my community? Well, I'm probably not going to tell you to make shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next one. This one's from Rick. It says, hey, vidIQ chain gang.
Chain gang.
Chain gang. I'm currently a member of the vidIQ family, but I have the boost package. Okay, Rick, this means you will be able to sign up to the Discord. We hope to see you in the Discord because that means you're automatically going to be able to get in.
Let's go.
The next package up is one-on-one coaching. I was wondering if you can go into a little more detail of what the one-on-one coaching package has and how it can help someone. This is obviously a you question. You know, give as much detail as you think someone who is on the fence about it needs to know.
Well, I mean, you get one-on-one, very customized advice and strategy from a coach. This can look like a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, you're working one-on-one with someone whose priority is to make your channel grow the way that you want it to, for you to hit your goals as a creator. And that looks different than just generic advice. And we're going through your channel, we're watching your content, we're providing you feedback. And it's very tailored. It's very custom for the person that is on the other end.
So the format is what? Text-based, video-based? Like, what's the format?
It's text-based and there is video option. So your coach will pop in with both. It's really whichever one just best fits the situation. You know, if it's quick feedback, you know, you're not going to FaceTime someone. You're going to send them a quick text.
Right.
But there's tons of times where you have a more in-depth walkthrough, you need to screen share, and your coach will do whatever they can to get back to you in the most efficient and quickest way possible.
Yeah, so essentially, it is not a synchronous call. In other words, you're not on a phone call or a video call where you're talking back and forth. It's async. So basically, if you send a message, you'll get a reply and back and forth. And we've seen a lot of success with that. Actually, on the YouTube channel, Jen and I did a podcast episode with one of the creators who went through this exact thing. The video is called, I should probably put a link in the description so you can find it later. But it actually excited people to sign up for coaching because after they saw an actual person go through the process, which is who this was, they fell in love with the idea of it and have signed up for coaching.
I think that it was very relatable to a lot of creators because so many of the growth channels and just this space just focuses on such large creators. And it's always just comparing to like what the largest creators are doing that's working. And that's just not the case, and not, at least what I find is motivating for people in, you know, not that situation. So Jim was just, I think, a very relatable, very frustrated creator who wasn't doing what he wanted to do, pivoted his whole channel, and now is seeing success that's changing his life.
I love that. The video is called How We Saved a Dying YouTube Channel. If I can remember, I'll put a link in the show notes in the description so you can watch it. It's a great video. Jen and I interviewed him, but this is where you get to see someone who worked with Jen directly and change things. And he even talks about the things that, like, there was a thing he was frustrated, like she wouldn't give me the title name, which is the right way to coach, by the way. It's the right way to coach. He was looking for a title for a video. Jen wouldn't just give it to him. She made him figure it out. He figured it out. Now he knows how to do it. I love it.
It's so true. Oh my goodness. Do I remember how frustrated he was though?
Okay, we got only 2 more emails to go through, and then there's a subject I want to talk about, which is really cool. This one's from David, and it says, "Hi, Travis and Jen, and Curly Whirly."
And Curly Whirly.
Curly Whirly. I just want to say, Travis and Jen, you were both right. You're both right. Candy corn is good, but I will say, Travis, Cadbury eggs are my favorite #1 holiday treat. Let's go. Now down to business. I'm a dad of 2 boys. And that is on a big budget because of the cost of living in Washington. Oh, trust me, Washington. Are you talking about Washington, D.C. or Washington State? I live in Washington State. Trust me, I know. I work 2 full-time jobs, and my channel has 2 parts. One is collecting high-end toys for reviews, and my live stream is playing video games. My toy collecting is slowing down because the main brand IP has sold their IP to another company, and they will be releasing their line in 2025. So should I just focus more on live streaming games? And most games are retro games by the same toy IP, or move on to new ideas based on the same niche. Thanks for all the help. You 2 are the best. This is interesting because when Dan was on a couple of months ago, there was a similar situation that a creator wrote it and said, my content is based on a game that a particular large YouTuber makes. And that large YouTuber stopped making the content for that game. So the kind of trickle-down effect slowed down his channel. Same thing here. The manufacturer has been sold, but they're not going away. It sounds like they're going to be reinvented in 2025. Weird strategy request here, Jen. What would you do if this was your creator? But they have 2 channels, so that's the other thing.
This is a tough one.
This
is really... Oh, I don't know if this is like an internal decision to make or if there's really a strategic answer behind it.
I don't know that there is a strategic answer. I think it's like, this is what we feel.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if our opinions really matter. Like, I don't know if there's you should do this because it's the best possible outcome because of X, Y, and Z.
Right. And to your point, this situation doesn't happen very often in the case that you're describing, where someone has 2 channels, they have a video game channel, they have another thing that's based off toys that for some reason the toy company sold or whatever. I would say if your views are starting to slow down on the toy channel, obviously try to figure out if there's any other kind of channel that's doing the same toy related content that is keeping the views higher. Like, is the entire niche dying, or is it just your channel? And then see what they're doing and see if you can come up with your own version of that. The video game thing, you can just keep doing. Like, I don't think that you have to choose one over the other. Although you did, you said you had a couple jobs, got some kids. Mm-hmm. It's rough out here. I get it. And if you're asking which one to focus on, the obvious answer would be to go to live streaming game because you have no idea what's going to happen to that toy line. It might just, in 2025, they might just go, you know what, we're not re-releasing it. And in which case now you got a channel that's based off something that doesn't exist anymore. I
would try to ride out the toy thing until the end of the year though, because we're in
Christmas
prime
season,
we're in prime season right now for that to have its last standing chance.
Good point, because I assume that you can still buy whatever these things are. So yeah, and if you can get affiliate links, go to all the major Walmart has affiliate deals, Amazon does, even YouTube has one now. Try to get an affiliate program and, make some money for the holiday season for them kids.
There's got to be a pivot somewhere, even if they are closing.
Yeah. So last one, I think we talked last time about, I'll read this because it's from Frank today. And I talked about in the last episode that, moving forward, we love our frequent flyers, as I call them, people that email in a lot. We love them. We do. And actually, there will never be a point where I'm just not going to read the emails. However, reading them on the podcast, different story. As we continue to get more and more people writing in, I want to give any newbie kind of preference over top of people who keep writing in. Doesn't mean we don't love you. Also, you'll have Discord, so you'll be able to, interact with us there. But this actually brings up a really good question and a good point, so I will read this. Thanks again for reading my email. Don't be obligated to put this on the show unless you decide create your avatar as a thing and feel like doing so. And it is, because that is what we talked about. And I think it's a very important thing. An episode, two episodes ago, everything's a blur. Like, time is not real. Where we talked about creating your own avatar. Remember that for YouTube. So here's Frank's. My ideal viewer is male, somewhere in their 30s and 40s, most likely with children in the depths of the grind stage of life. Someone who has a kid or a teen in the 90s and has a lot of great memories of that era. My ideal viewer likely stays busy and doesn't get a lot of time to dedicate to their personal hobbies, and instead seeks out vicarious fulfillment through their tight schedule through podcasts and YouTube videos without things from their glory days. They have a good sense of humor and promise to never grow old and act like it. They enjoy video games and off-the-wall humor like Ed, and Eddie or Trailer Park Boys. Now, and he goes, interesting enough, I've learned my ideal viewer is basically me. I'm inspired by other creators who do similar content, which I love, and try hard not to rip them off. Now, this is one of the reasons you go through this practice. I love that Frank, in the middle of making this avatar, which we told you a couple episodes ago, it's actually kind of important to do, has realized the secret behind all of this. You understand the person. And he realizes that not only is it a person that's just like him, which is fine to understand that, but that he understands that that's why what he liked from other creators. That's when you start making content that matters and connects. Like, this exercise is underrated. Underrated.
So underrated.
And here's what he
can
finished.
Picture Frank. He's like filling it out halfway through, and he's like, "Oh, it's me."
I know, right? Dun, dun, dun. I can't believe it. It's me. But here's the thing. And he goes, thanks for leading me down this path. I literally love this podcast. And every time it comes out, I watch it on YouTube and listen to it on Spotify. Taking the info twice really helps me absorb it due to my ADHD, which causes me to miss a lot of things on my initial viewing. By the way, same for me. And fun fact, Frank the Tank is my awesome internet persona, but in real life, my name's not Frank. Pretty interesting, huh? But yeah, this is okay. So for people who missed that episode and just heard what we just talked about, like, I don't really understand what you're talking about. Let's real quick go through what an avatar is. Jen, do you want to kind of give a quick overview of what a viewer avatar is?
A viewer avatar is pretty much summing up the entire audience you're going after on YouTube, just simplifying it into one person. And this person just represents pretty much who you're making content for and why they would be affected for it, and why they would watch it. But it's very easy when you simplify it to one person versus thinking about it just, well, anybody can watch my content. Right. Because everybody doesn't want to watch your content.
Right.
And that's not even a hard truth. That's just like, are you on, YouTube Kids watching things for fun while you're at work? Like, probably not, because you're not meant to watch that content.
So one of the things, if we real quick pick apart his avatar, I'll explain why some of this stuff's important. So he says they're in a grind stage of life. They have kids. That's important. There's one thing you need to write down.
Yep.
They love retro stuff. It says things from their glory days. Bing, that's another big thing. They have a good sense of humor. Bing, that's another thing that you can make in your content. And they enjoy video games. Bing, that's another thing. So now you got this nostalgia and everything and reminiscing about old times that you can make your content towards that person and know what other things they're interested in, so that when you create content, you're not just creating this one little thing. It's not just about this one little game. It's about like the experience of everything around that game and the things that made them excited about it. And you put in the humor, because remember, this viewer avatar likes humor. And all
not
those
just any
things
humor.
Right.
Very specific type of humor. And the best thing is right now, I would challenge everybody who's listening to this podcast. You have automatically thought of one person who fits this description in your mind. This is detailed enough where you're like, they're talking about John. That's John.
Yeah.
And then in this case, if you were watching a channel that fit this, you would send it to that person who was like, oh my gosh, you'll love this.
Yes.
The same way that you share people's channels, share videos, because you have a reason in mind that a very specific person would want to watch this.
Yep. Totally agree. All right, we're going to spend the last couple of minutes of the podcast talking about something that was talked about on the main YouTube channel and has been flirted with by YouTube, I think, for a while. They have since said that this is not something that they're necessarily testing and it's some type of bug, but here's what it was, in case you missed it. There was a post on X or Twitter that mentioned that YouTube appeared to be testing removing views and dates on the homepage of YouTube. That, I mean, went kind of viral. Philly D even, what is it? Philly, what's that guy's name that does the news? Philly DeFranco.
Philly cheesesteak.
Also covered it and mentioned vidIQ, which was kind of cool. And then we did a video, and I actually was in the video when I was still kind of sick. My voice was jacked up. If you've seen that video, I'm sorry. And I have an interesting take on this. I'm really interested to see what your take is. Because now what they eventually said was, YouTube eventually came out and said, oh, it was a conflict with someone's plugin. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, because they do tests like this all the time. But even if it is true, I actually believe this is a direction YouTube wants to go in, and I am not opposed to it. Jen, I mean, there's one aspect of it I'm opposed to, but Jen, I would love to hear your unfiltered thoughts about this subject.
I'm not opposed to it. I feel like I'm kind of neutral on it, to be honest, because I do think there's credibility for a video having a larger amount of views, but I also think that there's I do think that overshadows some great videos from being watched sooner. So it's
explain. What do you mean?
If a video is brand new, it's a small creator, they don't have a lot of views. I mean, I'm going to watch something that's more credible. That's pretty much the bottom line. Unless it's like the most killer title thumbnail I've ever seen. I'm going to watch something that I know is, not going to be a waste of my time.
But what are you basing that on?
But the views,
credibility. So you equate credibility with views.
Not entirely, but I think that it holds a lot of weight. I don't think obviously it's not the creator who decides, this video is going to get a ton of views. But if it comes down to it and I'm either searching a video or I have two very similar videos next to each other, I'll naturally watch the one with more views.
Interesting. So you're not opposed to the change. However, you do place, and you're not the only one who's actually said this, by the way. I'm just clarifying what you're saying to make sure I understand. You place a certain amount of importance on the views for validation of whether or not this video is, now this next part's important, so let me make sure I get your words right.
Mm-hmm.
Accurate or relevant? Because those aren't the same thing.
I don't think either one of them. I think if it's a good piece of content, like if it's a well-made video.
So assuming that the videos have more views, that automatically means they're better content.
I would say for the most part, yes. I think it's more uncommon to click on a video with a lot of views and it to be not quality content. It happens for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that happens far less often versus a newer creator with less views who's still mastering and working on their skills, their editing, their storytelling. They have a lot longer to go.
Okay. All right. So aspects of that I agree with for sure. Like for me personally, I like the idea of removing views because it evens the playing field for creators of all sizes. Because already the videos are being surfaced to you for a reason. The algorithm has already figured out. This is the homepage, by the way. We're not talking about the watch page or your sub feed or anything. It's a very specific traffic source we're talking about. It's a very important one because it's where like 70% of views on YouTube come from, but it's not all other feeds. And also, by the way, the implication isn't that the view numbers would be removed from the watch page. We're just talking about the home page where you have a lot of different options of clicking videos. On the view page, watch page, presumably you would be able to see views. I think removing the dates is a problem. I don't think that's a good idea. So I assume you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. We can set that aside
because
I don't think anyone thinks that's a good idea. Having said that, I think views are a slippery slope and a very dangerous one, because while yes, if a video has a lot of views, the implication is that enough people found value in it that YouTube has shared that video. But the reality is, and we're seeing a lot in the tech space, people are, quote, buying views. And that immediately causes a problem if that's what we're basing this on. Now, algorithmically, those views wouldn't count, so they wouldn't show up on the homepage. However, people who want to cheat the system always find new ingenious ways to cheat the system. Mm-hmm. So I like, from the perspective of not having that being the swaying vote. I think if you look at, like, now to your point, if you have two great thumbnails, two great titles, and you just don't know which one to click, I just watch both personally. But if you have to choose one or the other, then yes, I guess it does make sense.
I mean, you still have to click on one first. You can watch both all you want. You're still clicking on one first.
That is true. That is very true. So what do? Is that last nugget the views? I could see that being a thing. But I also think that's a slippery slope that is, especially with what's going on in the tech space right now, where people are buying views. I'm starting to really kind of back off of that. I think engagement's a better metric, but even likes can be gamed somewhat. I feel like, it'd be a great metric that they could surface? Average view duration per video. I think that's a better metric, because it tells you people are watching more of the video. Or if they just clicked in because it was clickbait and left 10 seconds later and has 10 million views because 10 million people clicked 30 seconds of the video, which happens. Once upon a time,
interesting.
Once upon a time, I know you probably don't know this, Jen, that was surfaced through the vidIQ tool. You could see that for a little while. And then YouTube pulled it from the API.
I don't think that's helpful for a non-creator.
No, true.
Because if someone watched through half of your video, most people are going to think that's a terrible thing.
Yeah, but I think once it's normal, like, true. But once it's normalized, people are like,
oh, they only watch half of it.
Yeah, but once it's normalized and you see like 90% of the videos on YouTube are less than 50%, then you go, oh, okay, that number actually, it needs to be like at first you might be like, what the hell? I remember when I first started creating and I saw average view durations right 50%, I'm like, wait, what? People don't watch the entire.
They hate me.
I was shocked. Yeah, I think it's just more information is better.
I don't think I like that one, because I think that's a creator advantage, not prioritizing the audience. I think that's very negative, no matter how good it is. It's never going to be 100%.
Yeah, it'll never
be yeah. And that's what you would want to see.
I don't know. I mean, well, for shorts, it'll be confusing for shorts because a lot of those are over 100%. But I would, of course, we're not, in my mind, we're not talking about shorts.
It would be interesting to people watched more than one video from this creator after, or something like that. Like the same way I feel like YouTube used to prioritize very heavily, like blank audience also enjoys this content.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Right.
And I felt like that was a very good giveaway that if I like this creator, I'm also going to like this creator I've never heard of before.
I think what you're saying, and what I agree with, is that a new metric should be surfaced in which it's almost like a satisfaction score for the video. It's not
like
just
Amazon,
likes.
Where it's like, most people didn't return this.
Right. Exactly that. Exactly that. Most people kept this item. Most people returned this item. Yeah. Most people got the hell out of here. Never watch this dude again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, granted, that is, how they are surfacing this video. It's like, oh, you returned this video. You clicked off of it. We're not going to show it to similar people. But I think there's something interesting where if, someone watched that video and they watched more from this creator.
Sure.
I don't know how you
have to be an aggregate
that.
Score.
There, people watch 3 similar videos after this or something. Or,
so I think you'd have to make it simplified. It has to be a score.
Yeah.
And the score would take into consideration what you're saying. that how did they watch videos afterwards? Did they stay? Did they like? It would aggregate all that stuff into a number, because that's what people will understand. If you say, "Oh, this video watched 3 other videos," that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It might be conspiracy theory, and they just got into a conspiracy theory hole. I feel like it has to be something
but that's
simple.
so good though. That's still an audience.
True, but that same information could be easily disseminated from a score. I think it has to be something that's very obvious. What was interesting to me is when Netflix took away the thumbs up, thumbs down, or whatever on their being able to see the score of a movie on Netflix. I thought that was a bad thing. They did that years ago, and now you just can't tell. You can't tell if people like the video or not. I think that was a bad thing. I think removing dislikes on YouTube videos, very controversial. I am still ambivalent to it. I think the problem it has caused is people will use plugins thinking that they're seeing the actual thumbs down, and none of those plugins work. To be clear, none of those plugins work. None of them do. They are predicting based off of the users that have that plugin installed, how many people have hit thumbs down. So for anyone who's listening to this podcast and they think they have a plugin that works for them, it doesn't work. 100%. Guaranteed does not work. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting. I mean, ultimately, I don't think they should give it up. I don't think they should take it away.
Views?
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not saying that they should go away from the watch page. You're saying they should just be everywhere. The view should be everywhere. Everywhere you can see.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything bad about it. I mean, new creators break out all the time. I don't think that we need to make it easier for new creators. I don't think that YouTube is at a place where it is so unfair. I think that new creators have unrealistic expectations as to how long it takes you to get to that point on the platform.
Yep.
The people you're watching have been doing this for like 10 years.
Yes.
And I don't think someone who's been doing this for 6 months should have their video surface the same way that someone who's on their 6th year has the ability to surface. It is a earned promotion, if you will. Because, I mean, if there was the case where, new creators were never breaking out, and I mean, we're in the position where we see hundreds of creators all the time, and it happens, and I don't think that it should be a fair play. I don't think it should be fair like that.
Interesting. Well, I don't think it ever can really be fair. Like there's always a certain amount of like, there's a little bit of luck involved and there's a little bit of timing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, so there's always that. But that's an interesting take. I'm not advocating for removing views. I'm just saying if they did get removed, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's as bad as what people think. But I'm of the mindset that the chances of that happening are very low, only because the pushback from the community would be massive. I just don't see how they would do that and it not just be the biggest news story of the year.
Yeah, I don't see that going. I don't see that going over well.
Right.
I mean, also when we're talking about it from, I don't know, an ad perspective, sponsored content perspective, you're being paid on those views.
Right. Again,
taking away the ability to see those views and entice someone to click on that video more. That's rough. That's slippery.
Yeah, I will mention that it is very hard to see views on shorts. So it's not like they aren't already doing this. This is my point. They've been playing around with this. And I really believe, truly, if they could get rid of them, they would. And
get rid of shorts? Yes, we should.
I mean, you are so funny.
I couldn't help it.
You couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't help it.
You are so funny.
Okay, here's this world. Ready? This is what I talked about with someone last year at Vid Summit.
Okay.
A world of YouTube. Longs are now like shorts. We have no thumbnails. They surface on a shelf of longs.
Well, isn't that already what browse with the homepage is? Or you mean something else?
No thumbnails. The way that shorts don't have thumbnails when you're scrolling.
Oh, auto-generated.
No thumbnails.
Well, then how?
No, when you
just
go
a
to
text?
Shorts, there's no thumbnails. You're not like seeing someone's thumbnail and then like
So you
scrolling.
mean a feed of longs? Ooh, that's interesting. It's weird though, because I think the problem with that is you don't know what you're getting into. So, for example, Shorts, well, I mean, nowadays it's 3 minutes or less, but Shorts once upon a time were 60 seconds or less. Whatever the next thing comes up is going to be less than 60 seconds. You have no idea what you'd be getting into in a longs feed like that. Could be an hour, could be 2 minutes. Like, I don't know.
We're kind of getting into that a little bit now as is. Now we're up to 3 minutes.
Yeah, I guess it's because YouTube trying to be like TikTok, which they need to stop doing that.
So that's a crazy world. Is this the next step before longs start surfacing like that? You know what's been on my homepage nonstop for the past 2 days?
What?
Vertical long uploads.
Really?
Yeah.
Gross.
I hit not interested every single time it surfaces. I'm hoping YouTube will get the point.
Please stop that.
I've never saw that before.
That's weird.
And it's playing like vertically from a long form upload and not like a short that has not transitioned yet.
What I want is to do what YouTube says it is. And when you go to a channel, just like on TV, it's automatically playing stuff. Now, obviously, if you go to a YouTube channel, your trailer can play. But what I mean is all of your videos are playing without mousing over, with no volume, and you just see them running. And then as you see something running, you might see something visually that's even more interesting than the thumbnail. Maybe you're not a good thumbnail artist, but your content's fire. And in 10 seconds in, you see something visually interesting. That's what I would like to see. I like to see the stuff constantly running. You go to someone's channel, and you just see stuff going. It's like, oh, they're all moving. Oh, which one's most interesting? Because that's what happens when you're on TV, generally speaking. Like you're flipping through and the thing's already playing. And you have to decide whether or not you want to stay.
I think you literally just described the thumbnail-less longs feed.
Oh, is that how you...
It's called TV.
I'm reinventing TV.
It's TV, though. And you're just scrolling, looking for a long show to watch.
Yes.
So you would be scrolling through channel. I wouldn't hate that. I don't scroll shorts because I just don't like watching shorts.
Right.
Like I want to watch just a long form piece of content, but I wouldn't mind not knowing what it is.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind it being totally random like a shorts feed is. Where it's like, would you like to watch about aliens for 15 minutes? Or would you like to watch a Sephora sale haul? What do you want? Like, what? What?
They're slightly different.
Yeah. And my brain is like, ooh, I don't know. It's 11:30 on a Monday. I'm about to have lunch. Aliens.
Aliens. I'm in for the aliens.
Like,
oh my God.
But that's like a really interesting world that I would like to see. Because like you said, it is like TV.
Yeah.
Or I guess like what TV was. I don't know. Does anyone even have cable? Is that?
Well, some people do.
People like scroll through like TV shows like that where it's like, I don't know. Were you watching Shark Tank, an extreme fishing show?
Okay.
Hoarders. Like, what are you watching?
All
don't
of those,
know.
Yes. Keep saying. I'll keep saying yes. You keep coming up with ideas.
Wait, imagine being so torn on long form content for TV like that, where it's like, what do I feel like watching right now? Because you're just kind of surfing.
That happens all the time. That's a daily occurrence for me. What are you talking about? That's my everyday life.
No, but not like you have to click. Like it's already started playing and it's like, are you actively clicking off of it to find something else?
I think I do that on Hulu.
Do you?
Sometimes I'll start a thing and I'm like, okay, let me see something else. So, by the way, there are like these virtual television show programs that are streamed online. I think Philo TV or something. Pluto TV, I think, is one. It's like a pseudo television thing where they're all just streams going all at the same time. And the idea could be the same on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe it would work. I don't know. Listen, if y'all heard this and you thought this was interesting, leave us a comment below on the YouTube channel, or you can send us an email and tell us what you think the new YouTube should be like. This is a little segment we just tried out where we just talk about a particular subject and see what we have to say. If you like that, let us know. I'd like to hear from y'all. And of course, we will hopefully see some of y'all in the Discord for those of you that sign up. I can't wait to chat with some of y'all and see all the cool things you'll be into. Jen, what is one thing that our listeners should do for homework? We're going to try something different. Instead of telling us what we talked about on YouTube or what we watched on YouTube this week, we're going to get a Jen's Corner where she's going to give you one homework assignment. What is the homework assignment for our listeners this week?
Stay statistically insignificant.
That is statistically insignificant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay,
right,
real homework though. Should we give a real homework assignment?
Please, please.
Okay, real homework assignment. I'm going to say this is over, well, typically I would say this is over the weekend because we're filming this on a Friday.
Well, this will be
today.
Thursday, so yeah, it'll be Thursday.
Okay, so it will be over the weekend. I would go through your home feed on a few different occasions, and I would find one common factor that makes you stop on a thumbnail. I would scroll, and as soon as you naturally stop, just make note of what that thumbnail is. Maybe screenshot it, put it in a little folder, and then every time you end up back on YouTube over the weekend, as soon as you stop on a thumbnail, maybe take another screenshot of it, and then analyze what is one thing all of those have in common that made you stop. And then guess what the follow-up assignment is? Do that.
Yeah, do that thing. Do that thing. Exactly. Oh my gosh, you're right. I like that. All right, so that's Jen's homework assignment. Y'all need to get it done before the next episode. And of course, we greatly appreciate you watching and listening. If you are new to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and watch some of these other amazing podcasts we've done. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a great review. That's always helpful. I don't know what it does on Spotify, but do all the things that help us grow and reach more people. And if you have friends that are into this sort of thing, tell them to come check us out. And we will see all of y'all sometime in the future very soon. Peace
in the disco.